Hey, what is up, all you lonely watchers out there? As we all know by this point, Yokai Watch struggled to find an identity for itself in the late 2010s. As the series began to lose steam, it started experimenting, trying to appeal to different audiences with no avail. Yokai Watch 3 was the first instance of this, attempting to appeal to an American audience who frankly didn't care enough about Yokai Watch by this point. Next came Yokai Watch Shadow Side, which was well received by the fandom, but not as much by the public at large. The more mature tone of the series was cool but alienating to Yokai Watch's typical target demographic. Due to this, Level 5 attempted to swing back hard in the other direction for their next series, Why School Heroes. Why School Heroes was a series that followed human reincarnations of our favorite yokai attending a boarding school together and solving yokai mysteries. This series was meant to replace Shadowside and push the franchise forward, while retaining a humor style and story structure more similar to the original Yokai Watch series. This sadly did not work out how Level 5 planned, and I can see why. The Why School Heroes movie, which acted as the series' pilot, received mixed reviews and the anime's viewership started to dwindle over time. While the series was supposed to end with a second movie, said movie was cancelled with a few series finale episodes cobbled together in its place. This is a series that's largely credited with why Yokai Watch kicked the bucket for good. But did it really get off to as much of a bad start as people say? Hi, I'm Jamie, aka LonelyFubuki, and this is my review of the movie that supposedly started Yokai Watch's downfall. Yokai Watch Jam, Why School Heroes, Can a Cat Be a Hero? Let's start with some development history as always, which there doesn't seem to be as much info on as usual. Not only is this series not well documented online, to the point the official English subs are getting hard to find, but the movie seems to have been made in a scramble to get something Yokai Watch related out that December after the 2019 reboot ended. Either way, Yokai Watch movies by this point were coming out on a yearly basis, and 2019 was no different. On March 14th of that year, CoroCoro magazine revealed the title for the movie and the release date of December 13th. A trailer was released on June 27th introducing some of the characters, details about how the school works, and the fact that our main characters can now transform. The Kengo Benimaru medal showed in the trailer sports the Mononoke tribe symbol, which was eventually removed because Why School Heroes decided to ditch the tribe system altogether. News was pretty much dead silent until a second trailer dropped on October 17th, officially confirming the humans we see in the movie are reincarnated yokai with similar looks, as well as giving us a look at some of the new villains and this movie's interesting humor. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Pre-ordering tickets got you an exclusive Jiba Jinpei keystone, which was used to unlock a time-exclusive tie-in quest in Yokai Watch 4, and the movie released on schedule with no delays. Now, is the movie as bad as everyone says? Let's find out. But first, keep in mind that 1. Due to how protective OLM Inc. is over their movies, most B-roll I'm using won't look the prettiest to keep the video from getting striked, despite the fact that commentary and critical videos such as this one fall under fair use. I've tried to get around this before, but it's just too much of a risk and a headache to battle with a large corporation like this. And 2. I will only speak of and show clips from the first half of the movie until we reach the designated spoiler section of the review, at which point I will give you a warning and a timestamp to skip to my final thoughts. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. Our story begins with Mataro, an average boy who's lucky enough to wind up getting accepted into Y Academy, the most prestigious boarding school in the country. On his way to commencement, he runs into the energetic and carefree Jiba Jinpei, along with his timid childhood best friend Sandoya Koma, who aren't as bright as the other students but were admitted on that year's new YSP criteria, despite the fact that nobody knows what it is. Well, maybe except for one. Mataro proceeds to get haunted by this red cat yokai until Koma and Jiba come to beat him up to protect the school nurse, Miss Enra. Miss Enra then proceeds to explain the YSP, or Yokai Special Power, criteria to Jiba and Koma. Both of them were admitted to the school for their ability to protect it from the supernatural. And that's the setup. The rest of the movie follows this new YSP club plus Mataro solving supernatural mysteries around the school. Before I get into my gripes with the plot though, I should list some of my positive feedback for this movie. For starters, it's animated beautifully. All the movies since Shadowside have looked wonderful due to their bigger budget and more experienced teams, so this should be no surprise. But their use of 3D models and instances of moving backgrounds look really fluid. They also hide some cool references to the original Yokai Watch anime and characters in the animation. The character designs also look really nice. While all the characters are wearing school uniforms, their hair, body types, and facial structures resemble the yokai they're based on very well. There are some obvious ones like Jiba, Koma-san, and Fubuki, but even the more subtle examples like Kyubi show a really strong connection to their origin. And their voice and mannerisms are usually at least somewhat reminiscent of their yokai counterparts. Their personalities can be different sometimes, but in a way that still makes sense. For example, Jiba Jinpei is still carefree like Jibanyan, but they take him in a more energetic direction as opposed to a lazy one. And the music and sound design in this movie? Girl, it's on another level. The tracks used in the opening and credits, the fight scenes, the summonings, they all sound so good and are absolutely listenable on a playlist. I guess they don't call it Yokai Watch Jam for nothing. And while the movie does these aspects well, there are two bigger complaints that sink the whole ship for me. First, the humor. The humor in this movie is a mix of toilet humor and corny humor, which is an interesting pairing. At no point did a joke in this movie make me laugh or even blow air from my nose. Especially not the one where Jiba speculates on the color of Miss Enra's panties for a full minute. Why is this even here? It feels so out of place for Yokai Watch's typical style of humor. That and the sexualization of Miss Enra, which is used for at least 3 important plot points, with many other smaller jokes sprinkled throughout. You could argue these characters are older, sure. The main cast is 13, with Kyubi and Mera being around 15, but the main Shadowside cast is also 13 and they don't act like this at all. Fubuki is pretty clean in this department though, hence why she's the best character. I just hope this isn't something they continue in the full series. But the more egregious aspect of this movie is how absolutely terrible the plot is. After Jiba and Koma receive their watches, they go to stop supernatural delinquent Mera Raido, save the headmaster's daughter from Sword Tower, and save the headmaster after getting eaten by this giant fish thing. And there's absolutely no correlation between these events ever established. On top of that being just within the first half of the movie. Actually, more so the second quarter. This entire film is just 5 or 6 anime episodes stitched together and it's absolutely horrible. I understand this movie is also acting as the pilot for the anime, but so was the Shadowside movie, and that film actually had a cinematic story that introduces us to the world, the characters, and the conflict. This movie has no such cinematic story, as well as being totally up in the air on exposition. The characters are either talked at to explain lore, or they just introduce new elements to the lore and never explain them or elaborate. Such as the Onryo, which are distinct from yokai, but the movie never explains why Wampus is a yokai and all the other creatures we encounter are Onryo. Which, yes, both yokai and Onryo are pre-established terms in Japanese mythology, but they don't act the same in this world, so you kind of have to explain what they do and why they're different. And yes, I get it, some stuff should be saved for the main series. But yet again, Shadowside hit that balance perfectly. It told us what we needed to know in the moment and nothing more. But if there's any one example on how horrible the story is, it's all in the ending. Spoiler warning for the second half of the movie. Skip to this timestamp on screen to skip to my final thoughts. You have been warned. So try to bear with me here, because the ending of this movie goes all over the place. So, after the YSP club saves the headmaster from the giant fish thing, Emma, the headmaster's daughter, takes Jiba out on a date to confess her love. This turns her into a giant snake thing who runs away. They use QB to confess his love for Enra to turn him into a snake and track him down. They find out that Enra is possessed by an Onryo who has been all the other love-based disappearances in the school. This Medusa Onryo escapes and absorbs all the corniness of all the students in Y Academy, which turns her into a literal turd. What am I even talking about right now? Fubuki takes back her power by making the other students seduce each other. Medusa is drained of her power. She summons a meteor. The school turns into a mech which the students use to destroy the meteor. The meteor explodes and burns down campus. The mech urinates everywhere to put out the fire. The meteor comes to life. The school kills it again. Everyone thinks it's over until Medusa turns into an egg, and Mataro kills it again. This is all within the span of like 30 minutes, by the way. There are like 4 or 5 plot twists in Act 3, it's insane. There is a nice moment where Jiba Jinpei gives a speech to Mataro about how he gets it in his head that luck got him here and that he can do anything, but they undermine this moment a couple of minutes later with a joke and the reveal that Mataro only killed the egg creature with the help of the Onryo. Any character growth Mataro could have had was just shattered right then and there. Credits, teaser for the next anime, fade to black, leave the theater disappointed. I would have much preferred for Mataro's character growth to remain intact, and for Medusa to be pulling the strings across the whole movie to make things feel more cohesive, as well as making her feel like an actually threatening villain, because I just cannot take the turd that absorbs pubescent urges too seriously, I'm sorry. The Y School Heroes movie had the potential to start a fun new era for Yokai Watch, but it immediately tripped and fell flat on its face instead. The story either needed massive tweaks to feel like a good movie, or to be split up into a handful of anime episodes. That on top of the tone and jokes just not hitting makes this one of the worst films in the franchise and the hardest to rewatch. So I unfortunately have to give it a D rank. Though I do plan to finish the anime someday. Hopefully its plot can win me over after this disaster of a movie. So, how do you all feel about the Y School Heroes movie? Make sure to let me know down in the comments and I will see you all in the next one. Bye bye, my lonely watchers.